Hello and welcome. This is Sal Sims here with SS Multimedia. Today we're going to be talking about writing to explain.
Alright, so let's go over our objective. So our objective is understanding, know what that is, how to write an explanation to a simple mathematics problem. So, of course, you know what the objective is, and understanding is. Writing is what I'm doing right now. Hi, I wrote the word. You should know what that is. And then there's explanation. In mathematics, it would mean that if I do 4 plus 2, right, I would explain, right? So this is my paper, right? That's a very bad paper, but yes, it's my paper. I would explain using words, right, how I got to 6. And mathematics means math. And then problem is a answer Q&A. I don't know. You probably should know what that is, right? So 4 plus 2 would be a problem. I don't know how to explain the word problem. So let's go ahead and get started. We're only going to have an example today. Sorry, I'm a little down. Example. The chart below explains Sam's class favorite foods. How many kids are in Sam's class? Right? Okay, let's see, right? We also have to explain. So remember, we also have to explain this. So as we solve, let's make sure we also explain. So I have an explanation page ready right here. All we gotta do is use it. So step 1. Okay, I'm gonna write down all the steps to doing a successful explanation or a good explanation. Step 1. Restate the question. Okay? So the question here is how many kids are in Sam's class? Okay? And I'm going to write this down. You'll see what I mean by restate it. Okay? I'm going to use white here. Try to do good handwriting. The number of kids, right? You see I'm kind of restating the question here. In Sam's class is blank. I don't know that yet, so I'm not going to write it. But this is how you're going to start off any explanation, by restating the question. Okay? And now we got to solve. Let's solve it and show all our work. It'll be easy to explain. So I'm going to use red to show my work. So we know that they can't vote twice, right? You have one favorite. They said favorite fruit. Vote for their all of their favorite foods, but favorite food, right? So we just gotta add all these up, right? So 13 plus 3 plus 5 plus 6. 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 5 is 11, and plus 11 is, 11 plus 6 is 17. 1 plus 1 is 2, so 27 kids in Sam's class, right? It is 27. Okay, now you're not done, right? This is explanation. You can't just write down the answer and call it a day. You have to explain how did you get there. So how you're going to write that, you're going to be like, I know that because, and that because word, okay, that was a very, very bad way of writing that, but the because word means that you're starting your explanation, okay? Or another way you could write that is, so instead of because, you could write the word since, okay? So instead of writing because, I could write, I know that since. So that is one word you can replace because with. Other than that, you don't really want to replace that word. That's like a key word that starts your explanation. I know that because. So how do we know that? So let's go back here and let's see how did we know that. Okay, so I know that because first I went and looked at, right? How did we do that? We looked at the voting, like the chart. So how could we phrase this? We went on the chart and saw how many people were on the voted for each fruit, right? So we went on the chart. I know that because I'm using I, but you could use we if it's a group experiment, because I went on the chart and I looked at how many people voted for each fruit. So you might think that, okay, this lesson is going slow, but honestly, this is a very important lesson. You have to know how to explain what's going through your head. Otherwise, it's going to be very hard to get a good grade. So look how many people voted for each fruit. Okay? And now we're going to explain that how we got there. Alright, so the next step is we added them up. So let's say that. Okay? After that, so let's see. How do we phrase this? So this is the most important part. You have to know how to phrase it. Otherwise, it comes out sounding choppy or bad. So, let's think. I put all the votes, okay, in an equation and added them together. Okay? So, that explains that we added these together. Okay? So, now we're going to explain how we added them, right? So, after adding, let's see, what were our numbers? 13, 3, 5, and 6. 13, 3, 5, and 6. I'm going to rewrite that 5 because that looks kind of like a 6. 5 and 6 together I got a total of 27. Therefore, there are 27 kids in Sam's class. Okay? So, those are all the steps, right? So, let's see. Second is, so let me write this down. Second step is explain your thought process, right? Meaning that what I did here is I looked at how many people voted for each fruit. That's my thought process. The first thing that comes, I looked at how many people voted for each fruit and added them together. So that's my thought process. 3, explain the math. Explain the math, because if it's a mathematic problem, then there's obviously math. So explain the math, right? And that's this part where I said, after adding 13, 3, 5, and 6 together, I got a total of 27. And the fourth step is conclude, right? And my conclusion here is, therefore, there are 27 kids in Sam's class. So the last step to all of this is 5 is edit. The moment that's done, you're ready. So the number of kids in Sam's class is 27. I know that because I went on the chart and I looked at how many people voted for each fruit. Okay? I put all the votes in an equation and added them together. After adding 13, 3, 5, and 6 together, I got a total of 27. Therefore, there are 27 kids in Sam's class. Okay? So, this is an important part of editing. Make sure it's readable. So this word together doesn't look too readable. So, I am going to erase it and write that again. Sometimes you might need a lot of editing, sometimes just a little. Together. That looks better, right? And, of course, the part where I had written down 5 like this, right? It looked like a 6. Right? It kind of looked like 6. So, what I did, I edited it so it looked like a 5. So I erased it and it looked like a 5. So we make it look readable and make sure there's no mistakes. So I read it. I don't think I found any mistakes. Explanation is ready to go. So these are the 5 steps. Okay, I'm going to try that again. Let's try that again. These are the 5 steps to write a proper explanation in math. Hope you come out a little smarter after this video.
Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And when you subscribe, make sure to hit the notification bell. See you in the next one.